Hello everyone, this is Adam from NoobFeed.com, and I'm going to give you my general impressions for Far Cry New Dawn. If you want to read the full review, it will be in the link below. So, Far Cry New Dawn, it's a great sequel to Far Cry 5. That's my general idea on the title. It takes place 17 years after the events of Far Cry 5, copies most of the mechanics of the original game, and does it very well, giving you a new set of antagonists to deal with, lots of optional content, and it is an exceptional journey that will take you around 20 hours to complete. So, it takes place 17 years after the events of Far Cry 5. The nuclear wasteland has surrounded most of Hope County, and what's left is this basically Garden of Eden like area where much of the flora and mutated animals live in harmony for the most part. Humans have started to reclaim the land per se, but they're really just trying to survive. So you take control of a mute protagonist outside of Hope County, not the deputy once again, and you're called by the people of Prosperity who live in Hope County now, asking for help. You venture into the landscape only to be attacked by the very people they're asking to fight against, the Highwaymen, led by Mickey and Lou, twin sisters who value power above anything else. They basically are nomadic people who take whatever they want, and those who don't join them are either killed or enslaved. They're exceptional antagonists and really carry the famous history of Far Cry having better antagonists than protagonists. They're extremely violent, very narcissistic, and proud beyond belief. I really like them. They were definitely different from, say, Joseph Seed, but at the same time, they carry a bit of Voss, I would say, and some of Pagan Min. Most of all is that the game is just like Far Cry 5, right down to the gameplay mechanics. Basically, what you have to do is fight against the Highwaymen, and you do this by collecting specialists who are throughout the landscape of Hope County looking for help against the Highwaymen. Either they are kidnapped or they are either enslaved, and you'll see a combination of both familiar and unfamiliar faces as you recruit them against your cause. The next thing you have to do is gather materials. This includes traditional materials like duct tape and scrap metal, while also getting the precious chemical ethanol, which serves as the primary source to upgrade your base. Your base upgrades include general things such as weapon upgrades and vehicles, to more useful items such as increased health and increased training for your buddies, which translate to increased health. It's a great system, just like the challenge system which returns here, which allows you to earn perks instead of experience by completing challenge, and then use those perks to upgrade your character with better handling, increased time underwater, etc. So much of the game does play like Far Cry 5. The landscape does have a different feel to it. It's much more different. I wouldn't say it's radically different, but it's slightly different. You'll see a lot of animals with different tones, such as albinos are much more frequent. You'll see much more powerful enemies, which look like animals with very thick layers of moss and other things. But for the most part, they behave the same, which I found a bit disappointing because these were mutated animals. I would have liked to see maybe a bear that breathes fire or a moose that turned out to be a predator. Something different. But for the most part, they all operate the same, and you kill them in order to gain their hides for crafting material. There is no currency in this game. Instead, it does dedicate to the post-apocalyptic setting where you basically trade material for everything. Use it to craft different items, and it's heavy on the crafting factor. I will say the biggest disappointment is the return of the pay-to-win system that I found that a lot of people didn't talk about in Far Cry 5. Basically, there's this premium system which you can use to purchase elite grade and legendary weapons and items way before you should be able to, and these elite grade weapons are extremely powerful. I bought a FAMAS elite grade weapon, and I was able to mow down the most powerful enemies very easily. And you can get a very small amount of premium currency by completing treasure maps, but once you get it, you can't redo it in New Game Plus. New Game Plus is also kind of bewildering because it doesn't really start you off with all your upgrades, it just starts you off with all the premium stuff you purchased. So I started a new game with my premium rifle, and it was no challenge whatsoever, which is a bit confusing because I feel like this is a very dangerous step for single player games. As you might expect, there are bases that you conquer in order to get ethanol, and you can scavenge at bases in order to take on increasingly harder challenges to recapture them again for more ethanol, which you can use in turn to upgrade your base. Missions are separated into chapters with optional objectives available throughout the game. They are presented in a much more streamlined way where you just talk to someone and they give you the location of where to go. For much of the game, there isn't that sense of exploration. It's more about go from point A to point B, which I didn't have much of a problem with. Another thing that people may find a bit annoying is that the landscape doesn't have the exploration elements that the previous game had. What I mean by this is that the wonder and excitement of taking a helicopter and finding what's out there isn't really here. You can still use a helicopter, wingsuit, and parachute, but that sense of exploration is pretty much gone because you could just talk to someone and they tell you, okay, go here or go there. And it's done well, it's just that it doesn't have that wonder that I expected from this sequel from Far Cry 5. But I will note that it does end this game in a high note. There is a terrific finale that I absolutely enjoyed, and it made the entire journey worthwhile. So I would give Ubisoft credit for that. Just to see the ending is extremely well done. Overall, Far Cry New Dawn is a great game. If you played Far Cry 5 and loved it, this is a no-brainer. You gotta buy it.